Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show, obviously episode 218. And obviously, in this one, we will be discussing that Friday night fixture against Derby County. And then, obviously, we will be previewing the game on Boxing Day against Bristol City. But first of all, Dad, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Hope everyone's cool. Merry Christmas and all of that.
Yep, exactly that. We'll obviously say more of a message at the end of that, or at the end of this, should I say. So, yeah, big up to everyone. Stephen's in the chat. He says big up to both of us. And he says Merry Christmas as well. Yep, same to you, mate. Big up to yourself, as always. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So, Derby, going into it, I mean, Dad, you said we'd get a win. Not quite how we did, but you did. You were a lot more confident than me. Obviously, I said a draw. I just thought it'd be a very similar game to what we had against West Brom, for example, at home. And yes, you could argue West Brom are a better side. I mean, we'll find out this weekend. They've got each other in that sense. But I just thought it'd be one of them sort of games where we'd cancel each other out. But, large parts of that game looked like we was going to go on to lose. But the lineup was obviously Kaminsky in goal, McGuinness, Holmes and Anderson. Anderson did actually start, which I did obviously, wouldn't mind to see. Obviously, I put in Peters more so because when Anderson has played, he has looked a bit shaky. Obviously, like I've said before, Chong as a wing back. Again, you're going to expect that with the players that obviously out. Hashioka was obviously out in this one. Moses on the other side, and then you had Kraus, Clark, and then it seemed like it was Brown ahead of Morris and Elijah, sort of free roaming, just behind them two, shall I say. And then as for the bench. Obviously, we know about the subs in this game. Chigozi, and like I said on the vlog that I did, make sure you watch that if you haven't already, in the brickies that I did. I said shout out to Chigozi because he was literally playing in the youth team. He was on the bench, so I don't know if he come on in that game, but he was playing against Man United on the bench, the youth team. And then obviously he was on the bench for us later on in the same day. So fair enough. Obviously, he was on the Premier League bench a few times, had a few cameos, obviously, on the bench. For us, obviously didn't quite come on, but yeah, that's good to see. He seems like he's the player that is behind, Johnson and that. Really, if we're going to be honest, we've seen him on the bench loads of times. Johnson, Nelson, he's the one that's behind by the looks of it. And then obviously you had Johnson on the bench, Krul, Ruddock, Nakamba, Nelson, Peters. So he was featuring on the bench. Taylor and Woodrow. So you look at that. Again, you sort of know it's going to be the usual formation. Looking at that at Norwich, Dad, when we were discussing it beforehand, it sort of was quite similar. You was maybe thinking we actually maybe changed it up. But obviously, it was the same with obviously Chong and Moses being wing backs and things like that. So it was interesting. And it was good to see Anderson starting and having a pretty good game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good to see him start. And everybody else was pretty much expected, to be fair. And the youngsters on the bench, and Peters on the bench, not majorly surprising, but a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But that's fine.
Yeah. I just had a feeling he'd be involved in some sort of way. Whether that's actually not being, playing or being on the bench. I just think, like we said about the signing, like I said, if we wanted to get him so desperately, we would have in the summer when he was training with us. But obviously, because of these injuries, we felt like we've had to push the button. So I knew it'd sort of be featured, especially with obviously, players like Burke and Bell and players like that being out. So, yeah, but going into the actual game, obviously, the first half, I don't really know about the first half. It was one of them where sort of, we was having the chances, but it wasn't, it was a bit of a slow start. It's probably the way to put it. Obviously, Anderson did get a yellow card in the first half, and it was one of them where, I went in it and thought, well, at least we're not, 1-0 down or something like that. And to be fair, we have started slow in a lot of games this season. A lot of teams have had great opportunities to score early, whether that's from our own mistakes or, us just sleeping a little bit. They didn't really have that derby in the early opening parts of that game. But I was just happy to go in at 0-0. I mean, what was your overall thoughts on that first half, Dad?
Yeah, it weren't great. It was a bit edgy, a bit cagey, but kind of half expected it to be a bit like that anyway. Um, they weren't dominating us, and we weren't really dominating them. So it was, it weren't a great game, but as you said, 0-0 half time's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're going at 0-0, you're always giving yourself an opportunity to still win the game. You also got to look at it. You ain't conceded. Like I said, we have started slow in a lot of games this season, so it's good that we didn't concede. Because a lot of times we've given teams opportunities. The Watford game, yes, we won it 3-0 in the end, but obviously you look at the Holmes error that nearly led to a goal. There's been a few other games we've had midweek games, Stoke, where they had some great opportunities at the start, obviously did take their chance and things like that. So it was good that it was like that in that aspect. But then going into the second half, obviously they did get the first goal, from a cross. I mean, my personal opinion, well, I like Kraus. I do like Kraus. I'd love to keep him, going forward. It'd be very difficult if we continue the way we've been throughout the whole season, in my opinion, to keep him. But I do think he was sort of at fault for the first goal in the sense of, the ball that was given away led from him, all started from him. Yes, Chong's got to defend better, but what do we really expect, guys? I've said about him as a wing back. We had to do it in this game, like I say, because we had no one else really. The only other option we probably had, but again, you're not going to throw him in, is Nelson, because obviously he's played right wing back for us against QPR earlier on in the season in the League Cup when he scored that spectacular goal. But again, even with him, you'd still have them things because they're attackers. And obviously they got the goal. It was a good header, but obviously we could have dealt with it. Typical goal that we could have really dealt with a bit better. Obviously, it wasn't directly from a set piece, but they do have their crossing threats. Obviously, us and them going into the game with the teams with the most goals from set pieces this season. So they utilised their crossing ability in that aspect, and Jackson was there to put it in, and Morris was very frustrated with Chong, and again showing his leadership game upon game. So that was good to see from Morris. That he's continued to be like that and show that urgency and that leadership. Obviously, we see last week, obviously when he was fuming at Walsh. I think personally he done the right thing. Because you can't do that. But obviously Walsh has come out and had a little statement. Which is fair enough. But you got to back it up now. You got to back it up and try not to do them challenges, I guess. But yeah, what did you make of the first goal, Dad?
Yeah, it's a similar story, isn't it? Cross comes in. Yeah, we lose possession, but then you still got to deal with it after that. You know what I mean? You're going to lose possession. It ain't fucking robots, do you know what I mean? So it's going to happen at some point. And then, Chong's not defensive. He's not going to be able to stop that. He's weak anyway at certain times, and there's no way he couldn't do anything. So really, and then, he's playing in that position. Could we have had someone else in that position? No, but we know that we felt that we need to sign a left back anyway. We didn't do that, did we? So with Bell out, Doughty out, and no one else really in that position. It's then I guess you should work. McGuinness potentially. I know he's playing centre defence, but he could have maybe have come out and helped with that quicker as well. In them situations, but it's a story of the season, really, isn't it? Defensive individual kind of errors that lead to other things, and it's just because we're so misshapen and players playing out of position, it's always going to happen, man. So yeah, inevitable.
Yeah, no, literally. Speaking on fullback, something I was a little bit surprised about. I'm not saying we're getting, so that I just don't think we will get him again. But have you seen that? Leicester are not really favourable of James Justin anymore.
Really?
Yeah. I just couldn't see it because of the wages, personally.
Yeah, I don't. He's probably on 40 grand at least there, maybe more, 50. If we did sign him, he'd have to take a wage cut. He could probably still play in the Premier League anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, we've got that connection with him. And yeah, I'd take him all day long. He'd go straight into a tick, easy. But we'll see. I don't see why they don't want him. Is it because he's had a few injuries? And again, do we want him? If he's not our injury record with defenders is terrible, and I can't. It just end up getting injured again. So we'll see. But obviously, like, you know, it depends. You know what I mean? He's not out of contract or anything. He's going to cost money, and you know, I just think he can stay in the Premier League personally. I think he will. So I think it's paper talk. It's easy paper talk, innit? I used to play for him, or Dewsbury Hall. They'll get him on loan. I've heard Aston Louis Barry's been brought back to Villa and is going to be loaned out to a Championship team. But we've got midfielders anyway coming in, and you know, I don't know. We have to wait and see. Like, you can't really tell who's gonna go. It's like Woodrow's going to stay. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then obviously they get the goal, and then obviously shortly after, Sonny Bradley obviously comes off. I mean, he had one chance in the game. Obviously, got a good reception as we would have expected. It was weird to see him with the headband on. I'll be honest. When I saw him with that on, but yeah, shout out to him every time. Like I said, you know, obviously a very good leader for us at times. And to be fair, a lot of Derby fans going into the game were a bit sceptical of him being the captain because, you know, rarely plays for him and stuff. But it sort of made sense in this game. And, you know, you'd probably say they were the happiest side in the first half. And a lot of that was obviously, you know, him being there on the set pieces as well, trying to cause that threat and having that bit more know-how because obviously he played against a few of them players. But yeah, shout out to him. Obviously, come off, got a good reception. And then obviously we made the substitutions. And to be fair to Rob Edwards, every substitution, in my opinion, was impactful in this game. Obviously, he made three at once. He put Nelson on for Moses, Woodrow on for Brown, and then obviously Ruddock, as we all know, for Kraus. And they were very impactful. And then obviously James Collins as well come on for them, you know, about 10 minutes after as well. Obviously, he got a bit angry at one point with McGuinness, which was quite interesting to see. But yeah, obviously that happened, and then obviously we brought on some more subs as well. So we made 5 that we could make in obviously football nowadays, and obviously brought on Taylor and Johnson. Taylor obviously for Anderson and Johnson for Clark. So we sort of went attacking in that aspect as we should. You know, trying to chase a goal to go on and well, at least get a draw because large parts of that game it felt like we were going to have another one of them disappointing games. It sort of reminded me in a way of how you maybe thought the game was going to just sort of see out when we played Palace away last season in the Premier League. Obviously, I know we drew that game in the end and didn't win, but I know it sort of felt like that for large parts when it was 1-0 to them. But then obviously, you know, the crowd was up a little bit. You know, got a bit more up for it, trying to boost the team to get something from the game. And then obviously Pelly Ruddock come on, scored another memorable goal. You know, all right, counts as Holmes's goal. They're saying now, but I'm counting that as Ruddock's. You know, to hit the ball that cleanly, and that's what we've needed. You know, I've said it for so long. We need them players to take pop shots. And to be fair to Ruddock, every single goal he's scored for Luton has pretty much been a banger, hasn't it? And obviously it was another one of that. I'm counting it as his, and yeah, you know, it was a great goal, which actually gave us a lot of confidence and spurred us on because a lot of us, and we were saying it on the show before that, you know, obviously when Darth Vader was asking the question, you know, about Ruddock and that, we were saying, you know, we feel we should play more, you know, because, you know, it's one of them where he knows the club inside out. You know, he is that type of guy that we have been missing in games, you know, because for me, because he hasn't played as much and stuff, he might feel a little bit like disrespected and thrown out, you know, a little bit because he should be getting more of a chance and he proved why. You know, proved why. Great strike. and obviously that brought us back into the game. And yeah, from that moment in, Dad, did you believe we were going to win the game?
Yeah. Then when because the way we was pushing forward, like we looked like we was going to lose 87th minute. I thought, no, we ain't getting nothing from this game. Just not not enough Luton Town there basically. At home, and I was thinking, oh, this home defeat, just lackluster, and yeah, basically we just them subs did change it, and like say Ruddock having that pop shot, as he would have done throughout his time at Luton, and we don't really have anyone doing that at the moment. Hard to say. I'd say it was on target and it was powerful. And there was too much of a deflection, and that's why it got Holmes got claimed it. But if it wasn't for the his tenacity and to have that shot, and he's been itching. Obviously, he must have been. He's been playing for us for time. He's just been sitting on the bench, even last season as well. So it's nice to see him come on and actually get the opportunity to affect the game. And obviously, we've done it, and that's what we needed. And then from then, we had the momentum, as sometimes happens. But obviously, the crowd up, and then from then, I felt that we could definitely come on and get the winner, and then we did. Obviously, like I said, Woodrow with the free kick. They cleared it, but it didn't go to the keeper. It still comes we won the second ball kind of thing, so that's good. And then obviously the second goal, again another free kick. Again, defensively they panicked. Elijah probably should have scored, but their keeper was really good in this game. And then Morris, obviously, the banging shot. And if their player dived like to save it with his hands, pretty much I think it hit his hands a little bit. So probably would have been a penalty anyway. But still, you make your own luck. Similar in certain ways to when we beat Sheffield United last season. Boxing Day, similar time as well. Actually, that was Boxing Day. They scored 2 own goals, but it was from us creating these kind of things, and we have got that in our locker. You just got to put the pressure on, and we probably didn't deserve to win, but sometimes there's been plenty of games like that where most of the games we haven't really deserved to win, really, apart maybe Watford.
Yeah, that's it.
Other ones, not we have been a bit say lucky, but because of the quality or the lateness at the end, like that sort of crowd helping you a bit, especially definitely at home, not even especially at home, only at home. That it's worked. So yeah, you can't be grumbling at that. Jumped us up quite a few places, but actually put us above Derby. But a few teams got games now, and now we're back to this is got 2 away games. And then we enter the transfer market, so it's going to be an interesting couple of months or a month and a half or whatever. I don't think now, unless, like I said, I always said it to you, this we're like in real danger of going down. Well, they'll give him the chance. We'll see what happens in January, basically. So yeah, overall, you've got to be pleased with it. It's a little bit of classic Luton in the last couple of minutes, and going back to last season where we'd score late on a lot of times, and that's good to see. But that needs to be carried into the away form. We keep saying it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's one of them, and to be fair to Woodrow, he's not people's biggest fan. He's not my biggest fan. But his crossing ability is good, to be fair to him. I can think of a lot of games where he's obviously done that. These 2 crosses, led to danger, whether they didn't go specifically to, the players who scored. They still were dangerous, like you said. And the Palace game, I always say the Palace game, the Bournemouth game, when he set up Morris in the Premier League last season. So he does have that. And I'll be honest, guys, when he took that first one, I was like, what is going on here? I'll be honest. But it did work, so I couldn't say anything. Then when he took the second one, I obviously didn't say anything because I got humbled. But he does need to bring more elements of scoring to his game, because it does look like you say, Daddy, he is going to stay with us going forward. It's probably Taylor. It is definitely Taylor that goes. But Taylor even impactful in this game. Got the free kick for the first goal as well. Nelson looked good again. A couple of moments I wanted people to support Nelson, because he was making good options, but it's just runs in front of him and stuff. Obviously, Ruddock got the goal. Johnson as well. Obviously, got on the ball a few times as well, and just didn't, just done things that he should really with the ball. So all of them are good in this game. But like you say, obviously, put us up a few places. Obviously, due to some weekend results, it did put us down to 15th. Like you say, above Derby now. So a bit of a breathing gap, I guess. But again, we got away games now, and we're awful away, and 3 of the next 4 are away games for us. So we really need to sort it out. If there's a time to do it, it's now really. So yeah, that's that really. When it comes to that, let's go through some comments, and then we'll get into the player ratings. It was nice to see Mads back. He looked good in command, the back line for large parts. Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely his better game. Without question, since he's, his recent 3 anyway games. So yeah, there we go with that. Says left back is very bare. Yeah, exactly. All speculation. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Jamie in the chat. He says, "Merry Christmas, pal. Can't stay long and get ready to go out." Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. I don't expect a lot of people to be on this, to be honest, because obviously it is Christmas Eve. But big up to everyone that does tune into it and obviously watch it back, and obviously have a good one, guys, and have a good time out, mate. But yeah, going into the player ratings, obviously start off with Kaminsky. The goal, yet again, couldn't have done anything. I think maybe 1 or 2 saves. Not actually that many that he would usually have to make in games, but when he was called upon, I thought he was decent. So I'd just go over 7.
7. He made a couple of good saves as he normally does. Good block when it got deflected. Similar, weirdly, actually, it come off Holmes' sort of backside a little bit, deflected.
Yeah, that was a good save. Yeah.
So that was good. Yeah, so I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Them ones can be quite hard to save as well, especially on deflections. So yeah, that was a moment. Yeah, because at that time I think they could have made it 2-0, maybe, couldn't they? If I remember rightly. So yeah, well done, Kaminsky there. Obviously part of that win yet again. McGuinness, move on to him. I thought he was pretty solid in the game. He obviously dealt well with Collins when Collins had his little run out. So I thought he was decent in the game. So I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. He's regular. Hopefully, he's not one of these mystery players that's injured. It's come out a little bit, isn't it? And yeah, he's doing all right. And like I say, Collins sort of not elbowed him on purpose, but it is. Do you know what I mean? And he was quiet, because when he come on, I thought he could get a chance, but he didn't. And his presence was felt. So yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was saying to people around me, I was like, yeah, it'd be typical for him to come on and score now. You know what I mean? It'd just be that type of thing with how this game's gone, to seal it for them. Shout out to Stephen, smash them likes. Yeah, please do. Jackie says, hi T, does and all. Merry Christmas. Yep, same to you as well, Jackie. Obviously, you did message after the game on the YouTube chat as well, saying she got it right. Obviously, she said 2-1, so hopefully she's back to consistently getting games right. That'll be good. Kaminsky, 7. Shout out to David as well. Merry Christmas to both of you. Hope you're both well. What a game. Point ended up on the floor, but you can never have a dull moment as a Luton fan. No, it was one of them games, wasn't it, where we, I say it quite a lot over the years on these shows. It's a typical Luton performance, and it leaving it late. One of them at home, but yeah, no, it was a good game, mate. In the end, anyway. McGuinness looking good, better every game. 7.5. Yeah, he's got a lot of criticism since come in. I don't think he's been terrible. Yes, he's had a few moments, but overall, I think he's actually had more positives than negatives. to be honest. He has cemented himself in that back three, in my opinion. So, it's all interesting. But yeah, moving on to the next player, Holmes. Again, I thought he had a really good game. Obviously, the goal counts as his goal. But I do think he defended really well in this game. And again, he is proper trying to break through to be a regular, even when others are back in the team. I feel, I've been really impressed with his last recent performances, to be honest with you. And again, I know he is a good player. Obviously, you've been looking at him for a while, but it's good that he's actually coming in now and playing regularly and getting that chance. Yes, a large part of that is down to the injuries, but still, it's good that he's shining on that stage as well. So for me, I'll give him another. You know what? I'm actually going to go quite high for him. So I'm going to give Holmes an 8 actually.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8 because he defended pretty well, considering he's playing at right back. I think he was. So yeah, and the goal. Can't say it was a classy finish, but you know what I mean. But it was effective. He was strong, and he's playing anywhere across where he's being asked to. He's actually doing all right because he's an actual defender and he's a big lump, and that's kind of what you need sometimes. You need someone like that at the back, like not just silky on the ball and that. And he's actually not that bad on the ball anyway either. But someone there who's just going to be in your face at that. So yeah, I'll give him an 8 as well.
Yeah, and I remember I spoke to this Reading fan when he left, and he was proper gutted, because he's of the quality that he is, and he is showing that as the weeks have gone on. One of the games, so impressed with him. I think it was the last home game. Yeah, I think it was a Stoke game. Actually, he was quality in that game. So yeah, I have to agree. Holmes proven that he's a championship player. Yeah, exactly. 7. Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Anderson. Like I say, much better performance from him compared to his last 2 before that for Luton. And yeah, I was happy that he did. Well, it seemed like he didn't come off injured. Seemed like he was all right. Obviously, he did get that yellow card, which does hold his rating down a little bit. So I'll go with a 7.
I'll give him 7.5 for it. It's really good considering, that's the first time he's played in I think that's his normal position, to be honest with you, for ages. Again, he can play anywhere across there, but he was pretty composed and you can see that he's been working hard, and I fully expect him to probably be starting the next game as well. So I'll give him 7.5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Stephen says, Mads, welcome back. 7.3. I think you meant 5, but yeah, fair enough. Moving on to the next player, we'll start off with Chong as the wing back. Obviously, we have our doubts as in there. We've seen it. We've seen it in the games before, guys. The Norwich game, the second goal, he's not strong enough on the ball. And you're limiting him when you're playing there. But we had to in this game, so I can't really say anything if I'm going to be honest. So yeah, for me, I'm just going to go over. I'm not going to go too low because it's not his actual position. 6.
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was decent going forward in the first half. Probably one of our best players in the first half going forward. I'm not looking at the goal he conceded. That's just irrelevant to me. He should be playing there. And, that it's like that. But going forward, he was the only one really trying to make things happen and was always on the ball. It's not his fault that he's been put in that position. We haven't really got. Well, you could experiment with other players there. Do you know what I mean? But so I think he was one of the better players, particularly in the first half. Played the whole game. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Fair enough. Moving on to the other side, obviously Moses. Decent game from Moses again. To be fair, he's actually doing really well. I think in that position. As the games have gone on anyway. Obviously, the Oxford game not so great, but since then I think he's done pretty well there. To be fair, especially the Swansea and Stoke games consistently back to back. Thought he really good in them games. Obviously, giving man a match in that Swansea game. But yeah, no, really good, and I thought he was decent again. So I'll give him a 7.
I'll give him 7. He's a lot stronger than obviously Chong is in defensively, and he can play either side of there. Unless he comes up with someone with real pace, then I think he's generally going to have a lot of people's numbers because of his nous and his experience, etc. And then obviously come off. So yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Stephen went with a 6 for Chong. Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to the midfield. We'll go over to Kraus. Again, I mean, yeah, he had a decent game, but in my personal opinion, I've seen better games from him. Right, and I'm not just looking at the first goal. I do think, predominantly he was good throughout the game, and I'd love to keep him, like I say, but I've seen better games from him. But I'm not going to go too low. I'll just go with a 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was harrying, chasing around the pitch. He's always working, trying to get involved, and he's enjoying his football. And he's played the last 10 games in a row probably. And he is working hard, and he ain't got some players around him constantly, like quality players, which I've said before will really help him. But from what he's doing, he's worth. That's why Nakamba's not getting into the team because of him. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Moses not natural but experienced. Yeah, exactly, and obviously that helps him as well when it comes to things like that. And you are seeing with him, he's driving a little bit as well at him, even though he is sort of limited because where he's playing, which is good because obviously he's very good at that. He is probably the only other player other than Chong that probably does that in our team, if I'm going to be honest. So yeah, it's good to see that he's utilising one of his stronger points. But yeah, moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Clark. Not a bad game from Clark. Obviously, was taking some of the set pieces again. It was an interesting one with Clark in this game. I don't think it was terrible, but I don't think there was too much from him. So for me, I will just go with a 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. Thought his passing that was pretty decent, and again he's been consistent pretty much, especially at home. And he's we've criticised him at times, but this is some of the positions that when he was up front and a couple of poor earlier on in the season, stuff like that. But actually, I think he's improved, and he's an old boy, and not at his age, but like within the team, and he's shown that at times. And he would be the captain probably if Morris weren't starting. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I agree. He would be. You've seen it where he's been given it. Loving Kraus, the battler, 7.5. Yeah, he is. Clark, apart from set pieces, he was quite. Yeah, I don't think it went a bad all good game. It's sort of just average, in my opinion, from him. And then moving on to the front three, we'll start off with Brown. Again, try getting in the game. Again, not quite seen to what we usually see of Brown. I can't really think of a big chance from Brown, especially if you compare it to the other two in this game. So for me, I'll just go with a 7.
Yeah, so I think what it is like because Morris and Elijah are the main strikers, and normally he comes on for one of them, or he's starting instead of one of them, then he's better. But I think if he's on the pitch with him, he's not like the main man and not looking. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he doesn't really know where he's supposed to be, kind of thing. Not because he's not the main guy and stuff, so he's just sort of feeding off scraps or something like that. That's how I feel. But I'll give him a 7. He's still, cool. Makes the other teams think. And in fact, is Morris got a few chances. Elijah got a few chances, and that would have been partly because of where him being on the pitch and distracting the other players.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, even us me anyway, when we see that 3, I'm still trying to work out where Brown actually sort of is. Really out of that, obviously, yeah, it seems like he's free roaming probably behind the 2, but I don't know. It's all interesting still. To this day, Brown looked his game, 1 or 2 flicks passes, nothing to impress. 7, yeah, it was one of them, wasn't it? It was one of them. His eye for pass is good for a striker. But yeah, moving on to the next one, we'll go over to Elijah. Obviously, had that shot at the end, didn't he? The keeper obviously saved it. Then it went out to Morris. Not a bad game. Was trying to hurry him, press him, like he does. So for me, I will go with another 7.
Yeah, I'll give it 7. He had a couple of chances, but that chance that well saved by the keeper, he couldn't do anything after that. And yeah, it was pretty live. You can see his confidence is up. But yeah, 7.
Yeah, and then moving on to the last player out of the starting 11, obviously Morris. He is my man of the match. Obviously, got the winning goal. I liked his leadership that was shown yet again with the Chong situation on the first goal. And yeah, he's got another goal. Done well there. Took a slight deflection, but he was in the right place at the right time. So yeah, man of the match for me. So based on that, I'm going to go over 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5 man of the match. Could have had a hat trick. Their keeper made a great save.
Chance in the first half as well.
Yeah. Again, like he's just stepped up again now. And like I say, for me, it's down to having other strikers around him. That's what it simply is down to. So yeah, 8.5 man of the match.
Yeah, that's now given Morris 4 votes throughout the whole season. So he's joint second with a lot of players. Obviously, Kaminsky is top for us so far on that with 5 votes. And then moving on to the subs, we'll start off with Nelson. I thought he's good in the game. Like I say, good moments for him. I've got high, expectation because what I've seen of him, I know he's going to come good, for us. And be good. I'll be honest, guys. If Hashioka wasn't back, I'll be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing him start or as that wing back. Obviously, if Hashioka weren't available. But yeah, in this game, he was decent when he come on. So I will give him a 7.
I'll give him 6.5. Thought he was, showing good touches and that. You can see he's got that quality. He just needs to maybe go out on loan, possibly get a good run of games together. And then come back stronger. Definitely one for the future. 6.5.
Fair enough. Elijah loving the running out defenders, not just holding up the ball much better. Yeah, exactly. 7.5. He's been doing that for weeks, that hurrying, hasn't he? And he's really good at it. Obviously he's led to a few errors from the other teams. Obviously the Norwich game and the Swansea game. Moving on to the next player, Woodrow. Obviously, his crosses were a part of the goals, so you have to give him that credit. A lot of people were sceptical of him coming on, let alone even taking them. So, got to give him the credit where it's due. So, I'm going to go with 7.
Yeah, 7. I thought he looked really lively. Last couple of games when he's come on, he has actually good choices with his passing, etc. And affecting, it's creating whether it's a direct shot or not. It's still affecting the play positively. So yeah, I'll give him 7.
Yeah, fair enough. Morris reactions finish off the parry shot from Eli, 7.5. Stephen man of match is McGuinness, fair enough. And then moving on to Ruddock, obviously, had that shot. I'm counting it as his goal. Sure, most of us will as well. But yeah, no, he's warranted at least the conversation to be getting involved in games now, whether that's starting or not. And for me, there was a few people saying about him going in January. Now, for me, let's have him until the summer. And I even said that before because, it's probably going to be his last year. He deserves it with how long he's been at the club. And he could help us, to be honest, with that leadership and determination. Yeah, he's a bit of a jokey guy, but, we are sort of missing that banter, I feel. A lot of times last season, season before, like last season, obviously we're in the Premier League and that, but you see the match day pictures before, he's having proper loads of banter. I haven't really seen that this season. I've seen it a few times, but not a lot. Banter with Chong and other players and stuff. So, yeah, man, I'll definitely give him more of a run out, whether that's starting or not. So, for me, Ruddock, that strike, 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. It was nice to see. I agree. Summer, and then obviously like give him a testimonial or whatever.
Yeah.
And then see what happens. I could see him. I don't know, man. Charlton old boy, I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Oxford. because of Kyoso.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He's still got stuff, talent to bring and a lot of positives to bring. Just higher end level. I think he's 30 now. Just same with Clark as well. That next level. They're not decent footballers, especially Clark. But you got to move on. And this is where, if you want to be getting into the Premier League with this nice stadium, etc., then you got to have the players now to accompany that. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.5. And then Taylor and Johnson, I'm just going to give a 6 because they are running on for like 4 minutes.
Fair enough. Yeah, Johnson, I'll go 6. Taylor is a lot more lively to what we have seen. The Leeds games probably when he's had these longer run out. I know it's a bit short on this one, but when he's had longer ones, he's sort of not really done much other than a Leeds game when he got that foul. Obviously, he got the foul for the goal. So I'll go slightly higher. Taylor, I'll go 6.5. But yeah, Johnson, I'll go 6. But yeah, other ratings. Stephen goes Woodrow 7. And then he also says Ruddock, wonderful techers with clean shot is his goal. Yeah, exactly. That is his goal. You know what I mean? To hit a ball that nicely and not have it your goal is a bit jarring, isn't it? So yeah, we'll count it as his goal on that. But yeah, there you go, guys. That is our player ratings for the Derby game. So Morris is now on 4 votes, joint second with a lot of players. Like I say, Kaminsky is top of the pile on our voted system this season. As for points, I am still winning. 11-10 it is. So it's very tight between me and you, Dad. Obviously, I said a draw. 1-1 draw, obviously said 1-0 win. So you got the outcome right, not quite the score. So it's going to be interesting. We are racking up points now, Dad, after having a bit of a slow start at times from both of us at parts during the season. So it'll be interesting to see how that is come the end of the season. But overall, still not a convincing performance, but at least we didn't lose, really, and to have that fight and that determination at the end, that's good to see. And you have to credit Rob Edwards with the subs because they all were good. So yeah, nothing really else to say on that. Any final things you want to say, Dad, on the Derby game?
Still a lot of work to do, but we're not a lost cause, which I've seen plenty of times over the years. You just know you're going to go down, or whatever. There's definitely not that for me. Obviously it's frustrating for everyone, and we've all said like what's going on, this, that, and the other, and it's still there. But let's see what happens in January, and let's see what happens with with this injury situation, because they've got to be looking at that now, because that's 2 seasons in a row where it's just messing us up. And you like one more injury away from getting relegated. Kaminsky got injured. I think we'd struggle. And a strike, you know what I mean? So yeah, let's see what happens there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And obviously our home form going into it, we were 9th on the home form. We're now 7th, so that's good. That's actually better than the season we went up. But obviously the away form is awful, and that needs to change. So yeah, that's all interesting when it comes to that. But yeah, moving on to the next game. Obviously Bristol City on Boxing Day away. I'll say 3 of our 4 next games are away. Obviously, this is the first one, Bristol City away. I do have them awful memories, if I'm going to be honest. So that time we played them, the last time we actually played them at their ground, 2-0 loss. We had 2-0 down, I think like 10 minutes. I think we might have got a red card. Sonny Bradley had a mare that game. Obviously, I know he's not part of the team now, but yeah, that does haunt me, especially when I take into account how poor we have been away this season. I'm a bit worried about this game, to be honest. Bristol City again. I had high expectations for them this season. I actually said they'd get that final spot of the playoffs. I think they're quite similar to us in the sense of the progressing year upon year. Do have good players. Obviously, a few players we've had or been rumoured with. Obviously, they've got Viner, that defender. They've got him. Obviously, Cornet, but he's not really in their limelight at the moment. Apparently, he's been on their reserves, which is quite interesting. Going Charlton, yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Him and Danny Hilton link up again. But obviously, they've had them former players there. Obviously, Viner as well. Naismith, but I think he's injured, which ain't a surprise, is it? So yeah, they got them former players, but it's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a difficult game for sure. Bit of insight going into it, like we always do. So league table, obviously they sit mid-table. If they did win, they could, depending on other results, they could actually jump up to 10th, which would be good for them. Obviously, as for us, 15th, if we did win, we could jump up to 11th. Potentially, again, depending on other results. Draw could put us up a place, maybe, depending on what QPR do. So it's interesting. It won't put us above Norwich because they got much better goal difference than us. So yeah, it's all interesting. But other insight going into it, Bristol City have lost 2 of their last 16 home league games against Luton Town, winning 8, drawing 6, and won 2-0 in the most recent game, like I say, in August 2022. Luton have won 8 of their last 11 league games against Bristol City, so that's not terrible. Drawing 1, losing 2, although both defeats were at Ashton Gate in 2019-20 and 2022-23. Bristol City won 4-1 against Watford on Boxing Day last year, but haven't won on December 26th in consecutive years since doing so in 2013, 1-0 versus Walsall and a 2-1 win versus Yeovil in 2014. Luton have won 4 of their last 6 league matches on Boxing Day, winning in each of the last 2 years against Norwich, obviously when Woodrow scored that winner in 2022. And then obviously Sheffield United last season, which we did briefly mention earlier, that crazy game in the end that it was from our end. And then the last bit on this section, Bristol City's Naki Wells has scored 4 goals in 5 championship starts against Luton. With all 4 goals coming on home soil, 1 with QPR and 3 with Bristol City. So definitely got to watch out for him. And then obviously, as for Bristol City, a bit more on them. Been on a poor run of form as they sit in 12th place, despite winning just 1 of their last 7. So, you base our overall season, they're still mid-table. That shows that overall it's not been great from us. But yeah, Bristol City have been mid-table for most of the season, struggled to find consistency in their results. With this current win of 1 win, 7, their worst of the season so far. A 2-0 defeat at West Brom last time out was a disappointing result, which Manning stated that the Robins were beaten by the better team on the day. A lot of Bristol City's good results have correlated with goals from their top scorer, former Wycombe Wanderers forward, Mehmeti. And then obviously he has 6 goals this term, 5 of which came in victories for Bristol City. Obviously, last time we met overall, we beat them 1-0. I'll be honest, I usually have quite good memories, but I can't really remember that game, if I'm going to be totally honest. Obviously, it was at Kenilworth Road. Obviously, part of the playoff season, obviously, Morris scored within the first 5 minutes, and then we just held on, really, to that victory, but a lot more convincingly than it has been throughout the season. But a referee for the fixture will be Peter Banks. Great. 59 yellow cards, 2 red cards have been handed out by Banks across his 13 games this season. Last took charge of our fixture when we hosted Burnley in the Premier League. Obviously, we had that moment, didn't we, where we scored. Looked like we could go on and win the game, conceded straight away. But yeah, 10 of his games have been Premier League games. So obviously, as you lot would know, he's predominantly a Premier League referee. Recognise his name. Oh, it's just jarring. But yeah, after saying all that, Dad, few stats that do factor us, but some that don't. How are you feeling going into this one?
I just think it's going to be can't see us yet. We need to, but if they are good at home. They just seem they've got a good record against us. So I'm looking, depending on who's injured and who's starting and that, we just got to kind of just see what happens really. And just I'm sort of hoping for a result. So, minimum a draw, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's what it's like now. Me and Mike talked about it the other day, and obviously Jess, that was on the fan cam as well. And we were saying, we'll take draws in these games. Like, you want to say wins, but with how we've been throughout the season, you have to say at least a draw. No matter the away games we've had this season where I said I'll take, well, more so the recent ones, like Blackburn, I said I'll take a draw. it's just got to that stage, isn't it, where we're so poor that you just want at least something out of the away games, really. But yeah, let's go through some comments. Alex in the chat, evening lads, big up me. Spencer says, hey, Spencer, hello everyone. Basically, can't get my words out today. Shout out to yourself, mate. Hope you're well. Shout out to Charlie on buses. Have a great Christmas, everyone up the Hatters. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Same to yourself as well. And shout out to Paul, obviously a regular on the Hat shows. He says, good evening, lads. Happy Christmas. Yep, same to you, mate. Same to you as well. Hope you are well. But yeah, going into it when it comes to the lineups. So, obviously, I'll start off with mine, like always. So for me, quite interesting when it comes to this game because obviously Hashioka's back, which is good. There's a few that might be out, but obviously Rob Edwards has been very tight-lipped on it. So this is what I would go with for the game on Boxing Day. So Kaminsky in goal goes without saying. Back three, I would stick with Holmes, McGuinness and Anderson, especially with how composed and better Anderson looked the other day. And then obviously I would go Moses. I'd keep him as a wing-back because I feel when you're comparing him to obviously Chong, he's more experienced there, like we say, and he has had better games there, let's be honest. So go with him. Hashioka, you've got to be putting him back in. I don't want to see what we saw at Leeds away where he's on the bench. Like, what? What are we doing? Be starting him, in this game. We can't get all gas because he's come back and they're not even using him. You know what I mean? Because he has done all right since that Watford game. He's been a lot more consistent and he's looked better. So I'd go with him. Nakamba and Kraus, again, Nakamba might not be in. He'll probably be on the bench again, but I just want to see that more cover away, especially against Bristol City. I mean, you could argue, based on his, cameo and obviously, a lot of people calling for it now, you could argue Ruddock to maybe start alongside Kraus, but I'd go with Nakamba, bit more experience away from home. And then I would keep Clark ahead. A large part of that, I'll be honest, is because of the set pieces, but at the same time, it wasn't terrible to put him to the bench or anything like that. So I'll stick with him. And then I'm going to go two up front, Morris and Elijah. Obviously, they're looking a bit more of a threat, especially if you compare him to Brown. Bring Brown on, try make him cause a bit of havoc and things like that. And then I'd put Chong on the bench, do what we've done a lot last season, bring him on in games to try and cause something. But again, I wouldn't mind if he starts ahead of Clark or something like that. But just don't be putting him as a wing back, please. Not when you've got Hashioka back and Moses has actually been decent there last couple of games. So that's what I would go with in this game. As for you, Dad, this is your lineup. Move a little bit.
Yeah. So Kaminsky, well, same back three as the last game. Holmes, McGuinness, Anderson there. I'm putting Hashioka straight back into his natural position where he was doing decent. And I'm sticking with Clark and Kraus. I can't really be seeing that won't be changed, I wouldn't have thought. And then Moses on the other side instead of Chong. Bring Chong back in his natural, normal position. And then because we're away, just have the two up front of Elijah and Morris. And then, like I say, we've got Brown on the bench. And whoever, we don't know, do we? So, but yeah, I feel that we'll probably go with something like that. And considering who's available, that's probably what I want to see.
Yeah, probably have a few of the youngsters on the bench again. Obviously, Nelson, Johnson, maybe Chigozie again. Again, it all depends, guys, who's out. So one or two could be out, didn't he? So we'll see from there. But obviously, you got Hashioka. With how he's been, you've got to put him straight back in with obviously what happened in the last game regarding Chong on the goal as well. So, yeah, you got to play him higher, utilise him to his better strengths, which is running at players and even feeding in them passes, for Morris and Elijah or whoever's up front. So, yeah, that's fair enough. Moving on to that last moment of this, which is obviously score predictions. Do get them in if you haven't already in the chat. Do get in your goal scorers as well. Say not feeling too confident, Dad. Is the poor away form going to continue, in your opinion?
It's a lot of games. It's going to be a lot of pressure. So, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. we have got to improve on these away games. Their form hasn't been too great, so you know, you just don't know what you're going to get, do you? Normally we're terrible, but I can't really see us turning us over like Bristol City, Leeds, and all that. I can't. I think we'll definitely score, and I think both teams probably would settle for a draw. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Fair enough. As for me, unfortunately, guys, I'm going to go for a defeat. Again, obviously, I've had high expectations of Bristol City. I mean, yes, their form, recently hasn't been great, but I remember a large parts of the season, I think they were like 7 or 8 games unbeaten, and they're at home. They are good at home, not bad at home. We're terrible this season away. I still have memories of that game when they beat us 2-0. Yes, we had different players, but still, we're even worse away, and we were actually good that year away. So for me, I'm going to go 2-0 Bristol City. Unfortunately, I wanted to back us to get a goal, but I don't know. A lot of these games I thought we would score, but still lose, like Leeds away, Blackburn away. Even though I said draw in that Blackburn one, but Leeds away, a few others, and we just haven't. We haven't. So for me, I'm going to unfortunately say a 2-0 win for them, which will not be a good. Well, it won't be a late Christmas present, will it, for us? So yeah, we shall see. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong, but we will see. 1-1 says Paul. He's gone the same as you, Dad, when it comes to the prediction, and he's gone Morris to score, which is fair enough. I mean, obviously, he did score last time, so would make sense, and I wouldn't really be surprised. And Spencer's gone 2-1. Guessing that is to Bristol City, because obviously he's put 2 first. Again, can't argue with that. To be fair, mate, I would be happy with a goal. To be honest, if I'm going to be honest, we need to start picking up soon. But I don't think it's quite this game out of the away games personally that we will. But your goal scorer, Dad, I can't have one.
I'm going to go Morris as well.
Yeah, Morris as well, and Spencer with confirmation that it is Bristol City. It reckons will win 2-1. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. But yeah, before we wrap it up, obviously this is the last stream or any type of content before Christmas. We'll obviously upload shorts, but yeah, videos where I'm talking to you guys and stuff. This will be the last one. So yeah, man. Hopefully everyone has a good one. You know what I mean? Enjoy it, and yeah, thank you for this year. We finally got to 2,000. Took us so long. I'll be honest, guys. When we got to the Premier League, I thought, obviously there's not met as many Luton creators as Liverpool, Arsenal, and all them. So I thought, get there. Didn't quite, but obviously we got there now, and now we're obviously on the road to 3,000. So thank you for the support and stuff on the channel. And yeah, obviously follow me across all the other socials as well. Obviously they're all in the description and stuff. And again, Dad, thank you for coming on to the hat shows and stuff like that. But anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah. Happy Christmas to everyone, and if I don't see you, have a happy New Year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we got a very quick turnaround on games, so you might not be on a few of the hat shows. So I might have to try and find some opposition fans, but if not, I'll do it by myself. There's no problem about that at all. Obviously, Spencer's loving it as a Liverpool fan right now. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, mate, to be honest. To go to Spurs and be 5-1 up, it's crazy, So fair play. I definitely think Liverpool win something, whether that's the Premier League or the Champions League. They definitely win something. And that is quite incredible, to be fair. New managers come in and do that. You can't argue. You can't argue. Spencer also says, take care. All Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, shout out to yourself, mate. Obviously, regular in America as well. So shout out to yourself every time, mate. And yeah, regarding this game, we will be back with a vlog from home. So you will see my dad there. We'll be doing the first one of the season. Obviously, you lot did enjoy him last year. So it's only right. We bring it back, for this game. So we will be watching it together. And I'll be honest, I don't know the last game. Well, probably Swansea, but obviously we did, off YouTube. It's probably the Watford game that we last watched together. So it'd be good to watch a game again. Hopefully, that might make a difference. Maybe, I don't know. If it does, then we might have to keep doing them again. But yeah, we will be doing that for Boxing Day. So stay tuned for obviously the vlog from home, which will obviously come out after the game. And then, yeah, from there on in, we'll just do a hat show in one, because then we play on the 29th and then we play on New Year's Day. So a lot of them will just be all in one, like this one as well. So, yeah, man. Merry Christmas, everyone. And he says it once again to you as well. Shout out to you, Stephen, mate. Yeah, no, I thought the same. Well, I said second, but yeah, I still thought, yeah, top 4 race for you guys. But yeah, be doing that is incredible, really. But yeah, big up to everyone. Like I say, smash a like if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Obviously, I know a lot of people watch this back on playback as well. Shout out to everyone that watched the last hat show as well. Did hit 100 views, so yeah, big up to yourselves for that. And yeah, like I say, smash a like, subscribe, follow me across all my socials. And yeah, until Boxing Day, we will see you lot in a bit. So hopefully have a good one, a good Christmas, and hopefully Luton can get some sort of result away. But obviously we're not overly confident due to the away form. But hopefully it'll prove them wrong. We will have to wait and see. So yeah, big up to yourselves, guys. Till then, take care. Peace.
Peace.